Hello everybody, welcome. I'm so excited that you're here today. We are going to make this fantastic card. I just love how it turned out. So if you're watching this, it's because you are one of my amazing email subscribers and you're getting to watch a Wow Wednesday video. And my Wow Wednesday videos are designed just especially for you so that you can see how I make something and I can talk a little bit more personally and in depth with you. All right, so here's what I have. We're going to get started. I've already cut out a bunch of stuff, and we'll talk about that later. But I've got this really cool Reindeer craft mat, and there is a link to that over on my blog today. So if you want to go to my blog and get the link for the Reindeer craft mat and the Post-it note tape, you can get those and you can purchase them through Amazon. Those are not Stampin' Up! Supplies, but I really love them and they come in super handy for doing ink blending, which is what I'm doing today. So I've taken a piece of 8.5 by 5.5 cardstock and folded it in half, just whisper white thick cardstock. And I put a piece of Post-it note tape up at the top to block off the back to make sure I don't ink into the back of the page. And then I'm putting down a piece of masking paper that I just freehand cut kind of at a hill or a slope so I can mask off to create snow. I'm going to start out using my Tempting Turquoise ink, and you can see that I'm kind of dabbing off on the mat first and then just going in a circular motion and adding the ink to my card base. Now, one thing I do want to share with you is I'm doing this at real-time speed. I haven't sped this video up at all, and I haven't cut anything out of this video. So you're going to see here that it takes me quite a while to ink blend the Tempting Turquoise because, actually all of it. What happens is certain ink pads sometimes are more saturated than others, which just means there's more ink in an ink pad than another ink. So in my Tempting Turquoise case, there's a whole bunch of ink in this ink pad and I'm having to really work it because you can see here where it's got the dark spots and the light spots. And in order to kind of get that all smooth, you simply have to continually go over the area. Now what this does is this really saturates your cardstock. So your cardstock becomes very moist and almost like feels like a different texture. And that's okay. I'll show you as I go here. You just can work with it. If you're planning on doing any heat embossing on an ink blended area like this, you really, really have to let it dry all the way, like overnight, or you could use a heat tool to heat set it and let it and dry down into the fibers that way. If you don't do that, you're going to have embossing powder that will stick everywhere. So it's super important that you take the time to do that. Okay, I'm using Marina Mist ink to blend into the Tempting Turquoise down at the bottom. I wanted the colors on this card to gradually get darker as they went higher in the sky, which if you look at a sunset or you look at the sky, you can see that that's how it works. The lower down you are to the ground, the lighter it is, and as you go up, as your eye goes up, it gets darker and darker and darker. It's the same way with a sunset. As the sun is setting, you see those really pretty yellows and pinks down lower, and they get kind of into the purples and dark blues higher up. This is not a sunset. My goal here is to create a winter night sky. And so whenever I want to create a wintry night sky, my go-to colors are Tempting Turquoise, Marina Mist, and Night of Navy. They blend really well together. Okay, so here comes the real ink blending. Basically, all I've done at this point is manage to get down 3 colors and kind of saturate the cardstock. Now what I'm doing is I'm going back over with my Marina Mist and I'm blending between the Marina Mist and I'm sorry, this is Tempting Turquoise. I'm blending the Tempting Turquoise into the Marina Mist and the Marina Mist into the Night of Navy. Now at the very top, you can see how it's lighter. I didn't like that. So I took my Night of Navy and I went back over the very top because I really wanted it to be super dark at the top. That was the whole point of the way I was doing this card. So when I saw those little areas there that looked light or they didn't have as much ink over them, I just took my sponge and went right back in over the top of those. Now, obviously, your ink blending is completely up to you. If you don't want it to be really saturated like this is, then don't do it as much. But if you really want to have a nice, smooth transition, then you would definitely need to continue your ink blending. Don't be afraid to just keep going and see what happens. Okay, so now I have an aqua painter, and you see I'm taking the end of my finger. First, I'm squeezed out a little bit of water in my hand to make sure that that brush tip was nice and saturated with water. And I'm doing it again here. And then you're just going to flick the brush from your finger so it kind of sprays water, and it gives you this beautiful color lifting technique that happens in the background. I absolutely love how this looks. It's one of my favorite techniques, and I think it's just such a beautiful way to make a night sky, especially if you're trying to create like snow. And that's really what I'm wanting here. I'm wanting it to look like it's snowing, but very soft. I don't want it really dark. So I come in after doing that with my little white dots. Now, some of you might look at this and go, well, those just look like stars. That's fine. I don't care if they look like stars or snow. It's fine. My intent is that it is snow, and that's why I'm keeping it very tiny. I'm not making big, bold spots because I want it to blend very nicely with the ink lifting or color lifting technique that I've just done with my aqua painter. If I made really big, bold white spots, it would be super distracting, and that's where your eye would go instead of kind of an overall blend. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and, this is like Christmas Day for me, peeling off paper where I've done ink blending or masking. I always think it's so exciting. So I'm peeling the paper away, and now you can see I've got this beautiful top fold card that has this gorgeous night scene and snow underneath. Now, I considered using a little bit of ink and kind of going over that snow area just a little bit to make it not so stark white, but I ended up using the Santa Sleigh stamp set for this, and on Friday, you're going to see a whole bunch of cards that I've made using this, and this will be one of them, but you're the ones getting the video for this. So basically what I'm doing here is I'm going to add all these reindeer like they're marching across the snow. I'm adding dimensionals to the back of them. I've already stamped them in early espresso ink, and then I cut them out using the framelits from the Santa Sleigh. So I did this ahead of time because I think sometimes to save time in a video, it just really is helpful to pre-cut some of the dies. If you've watched most of my videos, you pretty much know how to stamp and die cut. So I don't feel like that part of it is a technique that you really necessarily have to see. The ink blending though, and the way I created the sky, in my opinion, is the part that maybe somebody could learn from. So I'm going ahead and adding dimensionals to all these reindeer. Now, I'll be honest, I really was wishing I could somehow fit 8 reindeer on here and a sleigh, but these reindeer are just too big for that. So I thought, well, I'll just do 3 and it'll still look really cute. I really struggled with a sentiment for this card. I could not decide if I wanted to put a sentiment down below or not. I ended up leaving a sentiment off of the card because I just couldn't decide on one, and I really didn't want a sentiment to distract from the card itself. So I left one off. I'll probably stamp one on the inside, but for now I've just left it blank on the inside as well, because the other thing is, this could be a great birthday card for a December birthday. So if I leave it blank, then I kind of have the option of adding a sentiment that fits my need at the time. Or if I needed a thank you card for Christmas, I could add a thank you sentiment to the inside. I have these adorable little red bows that I added to their necks to make them look like they're all dressed up for Christmas. And I cut those out of real red cardstock, but they were stamped in cherry cobbler. So I stamped the little bow first, and then I cut them out with the framelits using the framelit set from Santa's Sleigh. This set is such a wonderful combination, the die and the framelit set. I really love it a lot. So that ends up being my card. I have to go ahead and use my bone folder to kind of fold it back down into place there. And it did leave a little bit of white spots when I did that. So I ended up going back over the top just a little bit with some Night of Navy ink. All right, so that's it. This is my card. I hope you enjoyed it. I loved making this card. If you want to see more YouTube videos from me, you can do that by clicking on either one of the images that you see here. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking on my little face. And I really hope that you enjoyed this video and that you join me again for another Wow Wednesday. Make sure that you share this on Pinterest or on Facebook if you want to share it with your friends. Let people know that if they join Wow Wednesday or join my email list, that they'll also get the Wow Wednesday videos. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today, and I hope you have an amazing day. Bye-bye.